Hello, everyone. I just want to have this serious conversation, right? It's for me, it's particularly serious, and it has to do with exams, WAEC. Although this one, Alex Onia. By the way, if you don't know Alex Onia is the person who first of all started talking about the whole jam problem that we had and took it up. I was able to help jam to investigate and find out what it was that happened, that whole jam problem that happened, and they had to retake the exams and all of that. He was the one that really took the case on before it was able to gather the momentum that he did. So, and this is what he's saying. He's someone who has, I think, EduCare. He's the CEO of at EduCare. So it's an educational thing like that, organization that he has, or company. They have this software they help students to do exams. I don't know very much about that, but I do know about him. I see him a lot of times online, and I see his messages a lot. And he does, quite, great things. So this thing that he's talking about WAEC, and the fact that a lot of centers, let me just read exactly what he had. He said, WAEC exams have been largely bastardized. The miracle centers and exam fraud are way too much. And I can tell you this, it's unbelievable. And this thing does not start today. This thing has been on for the last maybe 2 decades or even more, or close to 3 decades that we've been having this whole thing. People writing for people, certain centers where they will say, oh, exams are, people are being told what the exams are, people are giving the answers and stuff like that. I remember when I went to secondary school, our teachers were even tougher on us than the vigilators that WAEC brought in. I went to a school where we were the pioneers, so unfortunately we didn't write the exams in our own school. We had to go to a school near us because our school wasn't registered on time, and so we had to go to a school near us to be able to write our WAEC, and our teachers were there as invigilators, and the schools in the they were so tough on us. But there were quite other schools that they weren't that tough. And along the years, just a few years after that, especially when they started NECO the first time, people were literally writing exams for people. I remember I had a sister that really had difficulties with WAEC and all of that. And at one time, my mom was like, I should kukuma write for her something like that. And my dad was like, no way. If she write for her, is she going to put the thing in her brain? So my dad is that kind of very do everything right kind of way, and then if you do anything that it's not the right way, he go come after you. I literally, like a version of my dad, and all of that. So with all of that, so we did it. But a lot of schools, and these days you find out that people almost as if they don't even want their children to write exams by themselves. People are like, so sorry about this, a bit of background noise, so please sorry about that. So people are like, they don't want their children to even write exams, or they feel that, oh, kids should not write exams, they should write for them. I remember this time that I had a sister-in-law that would literally send her kids down to, I think it was first Kaduna, or both of them were Kaduna. We're still in Kaduna. They didn't come to Abuja. I think we're still in Kaduna. Bring them to come and just write exams, because most of the centers that they had where they were literally like all these miracle centers. She didn't want a situation whereby the result will be cancelled, and then even you that you did not participate in the cheating, your result now gets involved. And the kids that she brought in, 2 of them are engineers, one is a medical doctor. They all came out with first class, using their own brain. And then one time, the teacher of that, one of her daughters was like, how are you sending your child to God? Why would they write with their own head? Can't they teach a teacher? The way people just normalize it, and we wonder why we have so much corruption in our country. Someone who literally, they wrote for you to write exam, and you use that to enter school, you won't see corruption as anything now. It's going to be like a normal thing, to you. And it's just something else. For me, this is something that really, I'm so passionate about this. It gets me so mad and so angry. The way literally we're destroying our educational system. That's why you're finding you can't have constructive, intelligent conversation with people. People people just can't, because half of the time they don't have the knowledge. It's all about cheating and not even, what am I even saying? I'm talking about kids, when even their parents are doing the cheating. Adults that are writing exams, are doing all of this. And I think it was last year, I have an adopted child, daughter, who finished secondary school last year. Yeah, she's in level 1 now. In her school, first of all, when they were doing WAEC, it was not remaining only 8 of them. The proprietors had to pay. I think there was a minimum you're supposed to have, whether 30 something. I can't remember what the minimum was now. She had to pay the extra. So she did that because of these students who had stayed on. When it now came to NECO, she had to tell us that, look, oh, sorry, she can't afford it because she's having to pay extra. No students. What happened was that and the school very well, teaches very well and everything, that when they get to the final year term, their parents will register them in centers where they think they're going to teach them. And I'm like, what is wrong with failing? Why would I go and get my child, someone to help my child write exam? Fail. When you fail, you read again until you pass. And it's unbelievable how even kids understand this thing. Because this is something that has happened. I remember when my son was in primary 3 or 4, he told his lesson teacher, because my son had issues with, maths and all of that. By the way, my son is dyslexic. He has a learning disability. And so school was very difficult for him and all of that. And then his teacher, so the lesson teacher came to me and said that, see what my son is saying, that no matter what, his parents will get someone to write, is it maths? Because the man was trying to tell him that he needed maths to enter university. That I called my son and said, look, even if every parent is doing it, you come and know the one that gave birth to you, are not going to do it. If you fail, no one, even if you can't go to school, no problem. You go and learn trade, or you go and do one or that. You don't have, it's not a must. That was one thing for me. It's not a must. And in that maths, actually, I think my son tried maths for 4 times, 4 years. He was writing maths. I think 4 years, yeah. He kept failing it. It was the 4th time. The day he passed that maths, even the mail. Oh my goodness, if I had known, I was even, sometimes when you're doing a video, then some things, I would have looked for the mail to show the mail that the school sent to us to inform us that finally he has passed maths, because it was almost like he might not make university and all of that. But the pride with which he talked about it, I remember the day my son got a C in maths. From his school, I went to pick him that day, all the way to the house. That's how we put on music. We were singing, me and him. I'm sure people that were driving by were looking at us and said, what lottery did these people win last sing? He got C in maths. And by the way, my daughter is the opposite. That one, A1 in maths, A1. That one and this is, so kids are different. You love them the way they are. You don't say, because this one, and we've never have to tell my son that, your junior sister is in. Everybody, you have your own this thing. Follow your own life and whatever. Don't be in a hurry. So let me come back to Alex. So he said back to the tweet he did. He said not all schools are involved, but a large majority of the schools in the country are involved, and that's so factual. The so-called external invigilators from WAEC use it as a cash cow. Majority of them are criminals. Wallahi, that's what they are. Parents are destroying children. Schools are destroying children. These institutions are also destroying students. What are we going to have in our country if we continue in this manner? He says it's easy to see someone with 5 distinctions, including English language, and yet the person can't make a complete sentence. No understanding of the subject matter that he or she was awarded a distinction in. I remember one of my co-wives, so she's my husband's senior brother's wife, who worked in a polytechnic. She said you see someone with first A1 in English, the person doesn't know what is place of residence. So when they come to the school, because she was teaching in a polytechnic, when they come to fill their result, you are telling the person, how did you get A1 in English and you don't know place of residence? How? It's crazy. We have so many low quality graduates because they participated in WAEC fraud and sorted their ways throughout the university years, and that's so true. A lot of university people are sorting their way. They will tell you so money for A, so for B, so for C, so for D, so for, and you're wondering. That's why a lot of graduates they are unemployable. You see somebody with the certificate, but you can't employ them because they can't do nothing, nada. They can't do nothing until you'll be looking at someone. You'll be wondering, how did you get this certificate? How you copy? How did you do this? He said we need to restore the integrity of our national examination. WAEC, NECO, and GCE need to step up. JAMB is already on the right path, but needs to radically improve their system. WAEC urgently needs to deploy CBT in 2026. That alone should eliminate over 60% of the fraud if properly done. But here is the problem. If you say if properly done, the thing we tend to also forget is that there are a lot of schools that have never seen computer in their lives. They don't know what a computer looks like. How are we going to sort those children? They're automatically going to be, out of the way. Some children have never seen, so are they going to operate on CBT? And a lot of students that even fail JAM, some of them, because that's the first time they are coming across a computer, that's the first time they are putting it on, they all something, we forget there are a lot of government schools that don't have this thing. So if WAEC goes to CBT, how are we going to do? So we need to begin to find measures to take care of them. If we don't fix education, honestly, there's no how Nigeria can grow, and we need to start this thing from the beginning. And parents need to be used as example, punish, whatever, fine, that are caught involved in all of this thing. He said we need to urgently fix these decays in our educational system. Nigeria will rise again if our education system is fixed urgently, and I totally agree with that, and I'm for it. Let's revamp the educational system. Education really is everything. Just give that person that knowledge. I remember when I was in school, they used to laugh at me. I couldn't speak English. I learned. Today I am where I am. I can talk, I can speak English because of the kind of school I went to that was good. If I had finished from the government girls secondary school, couple that I was initially, and even though I had to drop a year to come to BUK Staff Secondary School, you probably wouldn't hear my voice because I wouldn't be able to express myself very well. So education is the easiest way to break the shackle of poverty. It just elevates your life. Please, let's do something about the educational system. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.